Hello, everybody. We're back here on the Hunter Call of the Wild, and we are once again going to be chasing after our tar, provided they'll actually, cooperate today. I did one run, and I noticed that, half of my respawns were not there, so I'm really curious when they're going to show up. Hopefully, things go smoothly today, but in the meantime, while we're doing this grind, we're going to talk about some stuff that I would like to see added to the Hunter Call of the Wild. But before we get into that, I want to give you guys a quick update on something I've done with the channel. If you guys are a member on the channel, you may have noticed that I recently tried out something new. And it's something called, Members First or something like that. I forgot the title that they actually give it on YouTube. But essentially, I put my last video as the Hunter Classic video. I put it to members only for the first 30 minutes and then released it to the public after. And let me know what you guys think of that. Do you think that gives more value to the memberships? Because I've always felt like my memberships didn't give as much value to the viewer as they could. And so I've been trying to make some changes to make the memberships more worth the 99 cents that I charge for them. So what I've decided to do is at least one video a week, I will put 30-minute early access for members on it. And then, after the 30 minutes is up, it'll go live to everybody. So literally nothing is going to change if you're not a member. It's going to be exactly the same as always. But if you are a member, you'll get to see some of the videos 30 to 60 minutes early. That was the main change that I made with memberships. There is a couple other things that I tweaked with them. So if you're a member on the channel or if you've thought about it, consider looking at the perks now or going back and reviewing what the perks are, because I have added some more benefits to being a member. And now that we have talked about that, let's get into the different things that I would like to see added to the Hunter Call of the Wild, because there's a few things in particular that I really hope that they will do in the near future. Now, obviously, this one right here is something that we've talked about before. It's something that I still really want added to the game, and that is trail cams. I feel like not only would they be very helpful to us grinders, but they'd also be very helpful to just the average player that is just going out for a hunt. Imagine opening up your phone like this, and you look on it, and you have the option to actually click a few things now. You have an option to click the normal map that you've got here, or you have a camera feed that you can click into. I think that would be really cool, where you could view the camera feeds of any of the cameras that you have set up on the reserve. See live video footage from it, see images from it, depending on what direction they would want to take it. I assume images would be a lot easier, but if they could do video footage, that would be super, super cool. And I think that quite a few of you watching would probably be very, very excited if they were to do something like that. I know that for me, that would be one of the best things they could add to the game in terms of pieces of equipment. We don't really have a lot of good equipment items in the game from recent years. A lot of it was just base game stuff. I mean, we've been given stuff like tents and tripods and blinds and stuff like that. And obviously we've also been given the electronic collar and some of the other collars and things like that, but nothing as game changing as trail cams would be. And as always, let me know in the comments what you think of all these different things that we're going to be talking about in this video. Another thing I would really like to see added to the Hunter Call of the Wild is more advanced ammo options. Recently, Way of the Hunter added a brand new ammo system in, and it gave us the option to use 3 different bullets or arrows for every single weapon in the game. For every caliber, for every type of arrow, like bolts and normal arrows. So we've got a lot of options now in that game. And I would love to see that type of a thing come to Call of the Wild. I mean, we have polymer tips versus soft points, but we don't really have 3 different types of ammo with differing amounts of energy that they deliver and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. For example, in the new Way of the Hunter system, you've got your polymer tips, you've got your soft points and stuff like that, obviously. But it also, depending on which one you select, it's going to be different grains as well. So you might have a 65 grain cartridge and a 55 grain one. And depending on which one you choose, it's going to perform a little bit differently. Because obviously the hotter loads are going to produce more energy. They're going to hit harder in most cases. So I think they should add that type of thing into Call of the Wild. I think that'd be really cool. And out of all the things that they added to Way of the Hunter in terms of this new ammo system, one of the most interesting is the arrows. You've got not only fixed broadheads, But you also have stuff like mechanical broadheads and these like miracle point broadheads that are made for small game, which is really cool. I'd love to see that type of an option in Call of the Wild. Get that 4 down there. I think I missed the shot on that other one, which is really unfortunate. So I think we only got 1 kill at this zone. But the next thing on the list is I'd like to see another new lodge. Obviously, this isn't a new feature, but it's been a long time since we've had a new lodge. And I don't know why it's been so long. I assume it's just not one of the more highly requested things in comparison to other things. So they probably just have been prioritizing the more popular stuff. But I really want to see a new lodge added to the game. With the theme of like Silver Ridge Peaks or one of the other maps like Emerald Coast, I think, you know, just a different themed lodge that has a lot more space than the current ones would be really cool. Another thing that would be really cool, I think, is if we were to somehow get like separate difficulties or separate game modes even. That way we can kind of customize our experience here in the Hunter Call of the Wild. Way of the Hunter has this, and it works really, really well. They've had it set up to a point where you can completely change the game drastically by choosing like the lowest difficulty versus the highest difficulty. The highest difficulty is a completely different ball game compared to the lowest difficulty, and I think that would be really cool to see here in Call of the Wild as well. For example, let's say you choose like the easiest difficulty. Maybe they would make it so like animals didn't get spooked from tents. I know that was a very controversial change when they did that, so why not just add in multiple difficulties? Have the lowest difficulty, you know, not spook animals when you fast travel to tents. The animals' senses wouldn't be as good. And on the higher difficulties, you'd have animals that are a lot smarter. They'd be better at like detecting whenever somebody is near. Maybe it would be a little bit tougher to kill, or I guess not kill, but maybe even tougher to kill. Maybe it would be like harder to find the higher level animals at a higher difficulty. And then obviously like there would be some type of an indicator as to what difficulty you're playing on in the harvest screen. Way of the Hunter has done that system so well that I feel like Call of the Wild could do it just as good, if not better. Because let's be honest, like whenever they add in new systems, usually they're pretty solid here in Call of the Wild, and I feel like if they added some type of a difficulty system, it would be really, really cool. I feel like it would completely change the game for one, but it would also make it so it's a lot more accessible to a lot of people that maybe don't have as much time to play the game as someone like myself. Like, obviously, with me, I have time to grind all day and play all day because I'm a full-time content creator, but for the average person that may only get like an hour every couple of days to play the game, maybe they'd want to play on a lower difficulty level. That way it wouldn't take as long to find animals. It wouldn't be as difficult to get close to them. I think this is something EW should definitely consider, is adding in difficulty levels so you can have more customizability with your game. And it wouldn't even have to be anything too crazy. Maybe just like an easy mode, a normal mode, and a hardcore mode, with hardcore being like no help at all, like no highlighted tracks, no like calling cones or tracking cones or anything like that, super high senses on animals. And then like easy, as we explained, could just be that lower senses, they don't get spooked by things as easily, etc., etc. There's so much they could do with it. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit this shot, but we're going to try it. And then there's one up here as well. There we go. I think we got both of those level 4s. And then, of course, the last thing that we're going to talk about in this video is non-typicals. I would love to see non-typicals added to the game. I've talked about it in probably 3 other videos before, because it's just the one thing that I feel like the animals and like the antler system is just lacking in the game. Non-typicals are something I've been wanting to see added to the game for years and years at this point. Pretty much ever since Call of the Wild was made, it is like the primary thing that I really want them to add to their True Rack system. Just give us non-typicals. Give us non-typicals that aren't a great one. Because, like, we have non-typical antlers on some of the great ones, but I want just the chance of getting normal non-typicals, or maybe like drop tines or stickers or things like that. Like, I really hope one of these days we get something like that added to the game, because I feel like it would just add a whole new level of variety to the antlered animals in the game. And you know, another thing that's really interesting that I'll add on to it is so many of us have played the Hunter Classic. So many of us PC players here in Call of the Wild have played the Hunter Classic before. And a lot of us don't really play it anymore nowadays. And the non-typicals in that game are the one thing that bring myself and many others that have kind of stopped playing the game back to it whenever we get that itch to go for non-typicals, because no other game does non-typicals like the Hunter Classic does. And if they've done it that well in Classic, imagine what they could do in Call of the Wild. I feel like if they can get a non-typical system in Call of the Wild, it's going to be the best non-typicals that we've ever seen in a hunting game. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment and a like down below, and also subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. Let me know, what type of things you'd like to see added to the game. Let me know if any of these things in particular that I mentioned during this video sound interesting to you. Let me know if you disagree with anything. As always, just be civil in the comments, and then we'll go through and read all of them and reply to a bunch of them. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.